To me, the real most soul-searching part of your career is when you go to make your next album.
Right.
I mean, here's that moment. Here's your opportunity to do what?
Right.
You know, do you want to sustain what you've got? Do you want to
take a chance and do something a little different?
Yeah, or not just do something different, but is there something that you feel like down in your soul you need to share?
Right.
You know, and or cover your bases, but you want to have consistency. What are you thinking about this time when you go to make this record?
Yeah. For me, it's a major step in my career just because it's the first time I've been at a different label in all these years. I was at RCA for a long time, 12 years. Mm-hmm. And being with a new label and a new group of people behind me, that everyone's excited it's like this rejuvenation. And so I'm excited on that level, but I'm also excited because I'm a different person too than I was years ago. I mean, I have a 5-year-old daughter now. I think differently. I do things differently. And so it's what you said is kind of interesting. It's balancing what I want to say with what is real. And as you know, in music, as we try to, I think being real is is most attractive to people. I think they can sense what you're saying is real. But there's also a part of music that I've always found too, that is the fantasy of it as well is what makes it appealing. Mm-hmm. And so like this new single it's my new single, it's called I Was Jack, You Were Diane, is an ode to the original Jack and Diane scene. We did kind of what you've heard in hip hop songs before, something where you actually take the sampled original track and we sampled it and wrote new lyrics. I was not a writer on it, but the writers rewrote new lyrics to it. And but in a sense, it's the whole ode to remember when you and I were listening to that song and we were those kids in that song. And I remember being that kid. So when I heard this song, it was kind of hit me in the right chord.
So what about the can you use that song? How's that work?
Actually, it's kind of, I'm glad when I heard the song, I thought to myself, I'm glad I didn't write this, mm-hmm. because the legalities behind it of using a song that's that iconic.
Yeah.
But the great story of it is we kind of checked our bases so far as they sent it to him and his manager, and they actually got back to us saying that as many times as they've heard people try to take that song and do something with it, John's never been for it ever. And he said that he really loved this, and he said that he gave us his blessing to use it.
Oh, cool.
And I think they put his name on it as a writer to give him writer's credit on the song. And they actually licensed us some of his content to use for our video.
Oh, great.
We're making. So
cool.
It feels good to know that he kind of gave his stamp of approval, because that, I will say, I mean, that was a big little kind of chance for me thinking about doing this song. Was those folks out there, they're gonna be like, how are you gonna take a classic song like this and redo something that's already great? Mm-hmm. You know? And really for us, it was more about paying kind of homage to that song, while still making it relevant in today's world. So it's been cool.
No, I think it's good, and young people will rediscover that stuff too.
Yeah.
You know, it's neat for him. It was funny because you may know what it is, because I know you're a little more in tune to hip hop music and whatever than I am, but I just did a show with a great soul singer out in San Francisco on with a song called Bobby Valentine on a song called I Got a Woman, old Ray Charles song, which I knew of, but I never covered it or anything, you know, coming up. I didn't really know it. It's like I've heard this before, but of all, you know, it's not like Georgia or any, you know, Hit the Road Jack stuff that I really knew from Ray Charles. And my son's like, oh man, I love it. He was walking around singing. I'm like, how do you know that song?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Eric's like 29, and it's like, oh man, because some hip hop band did what you're doing.
Sample it.
Sampled it and did it and whatever. You know.
My buddy the other day, one of my really great friends, has a 10-year-old son, and his other boy's 14, 15. And I played it for him just to see what they thought. And they were like, man, Jake, I really like this song. Your new song's going to be great. And then their dad said, you know that song though, right? Like you know that, and they're like, no, what? And it occurred to me at that moment that I thought, wow, I guess you just assume that songs like that, they live forever and people just know. But what does live forever is that sonic quality and instantaneous, whether you call it gratification or just connect with,
It's a hook.
Yeah, a hook. It's the hook that will live forever. And so kids now that are hearing that bound down, is really cool. And I like the fact too that I'm able to kind of point the arrow back towards John Mellencamp and that song and how much it not only meant to me, but how it's kind of carried on through the years.
And don't you love the simple ones too? I mean, I still want them. You know, you think back, like, what are your favorite musical memories? And I just remember, you know, in the middle of a Rolling Stones concert, up on this huge tower, there's Keith Richards standing. The light comes on him, and the wind's blowing. It was in Atlanta, Georgia, at the state football stadium. It's like, like the first lick I learned to play on electric guitar, you know. But that's all it was to it, and that's kind of how that Jack and Diane lick is.
Yeah,
there's nothing to it, but it's you just grab it, you know.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That's
stuff.
Music. That's what makes it exciting.
Saw a beautiful picture of your daughter and your dog that you had posted.
Oh yeah,
man, she's getting so big and she's beautiful.
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, she's 5. She's getting a lot bigger. I bought a farm out in Kingston Springs, and so it's been our it's gonna be our place for her to grow up, you know, forever. I've always wanted that forever kind of home farm life, and so now she's got her own chickens, and so
really?
Oh yeah,
you got a chicken house?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm jealous. You got something I don't. I'm finally gonna have to build my chicken house.
Yeah, they're great, man. I love it. We got all kinds of eggs every day, and we have I got her a pony for Christmas. Actually, it's a miniature horse.
Yeah.
So it's a little mini horse.
Is it mean?
No,
they're typically not very.
Yeah,
they're
good. I've heard that, but she's been really
good.
Sweet.
Some of them are.
Yeah. Spending a lot of time.
You got
with
a
her.
good one. Good.
Yeah, so she's beautiful, all white.
Cool.
We put a unicorn on her for Christmas. Told Pearl it was a unicorn. So, but she's loved it.
I read somewhere that you weren't traveling with the dogs on the bus so much. I'm glad you have matured at least to that level.
Yeah, Merle, my bulldog, he had to come off the road. I had to retire him. He'd had enough. He's kind of like my tour manager.
You'd had enough. You can say that.
Yeah, yeah. I actually loved having him. I mean, he's great, but I have a great girlfriend, and she likes having some dogs around the house when I'm gone, especially on the farm.
Cool. So, what's your daughter into?
She's into all kinds of stuff. I mean, she's really
besides the unicorns and the things you're forcing her into.
Yeah, no, she's in the princess phase where she loves princesses, and she likes anything, which is great. I'll say this: going through divorce isn't something that I would put upon anyone, but what I've learned through it is that it's allowed me to really connect with my little girl on a whole different level, where I had a great relationship with her before when her mom and I were together, but now that it's just, when I have her, it's just her and I. There's nothing else mixed in between, and so we have this one-on-one connection every time we're with each other, and the same she gets when she's with her mom. And it's unfortunate we don't have that together anymore, but she's a great kid, and she's growing up super. I mean, she's smart, and got a lot of integrity as to who she is as a little girl. And
good.
It's great. That's my favorite part of life right now is being a dad.
Yeah, you're a good guy. I know you'll be a good dad, and that's what it takes, I think, in those kind of situations.
Yeah,
I mean, it works, or it's hard on kids, and I've seen a lot of parents really make the best of that, and I'm sure you will too.
Yeah, and you know how it is having kids, being on the road too is just it's a hard thing. So it's all what you do, how you make it, what kind of dad you are. It's up to you. I mean, so I've done a pretty good job, and I'm excited to continue that.
Good for you. Yeah, that was as quick as we could. We went to like 60 to 70 shows, made them all weekends. I drove carpools, coached soccer.
Yeah.
You know, if it was something that really mattered, even when I couldn't afford it, I'd just charter a plane and fly home. You know, Those are regrets you don't want to live with, and I'd heard it too much from people in this business. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I feel like I made a
Heck yeah.
I made a pretty good
Your
run.
kids
of that.
will always
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, yeah. And you got the fairs in the summertime, so
Yeah.
there's always plenty of bad food to eat.
Yeah. No kidding. Thanks, Kix. I
Hey, good to
appreciate
see
it.
you,
Always
man.
good to see you
to
as
catch
well.
up a little bit.
Yeah, always good to see you as well.